it sounds just like a song. I want more berries and that summer feeling. It's so wonderful and warm. Breathe me in, breathe me out. I don't know if I could ever go without. I'm just thinking out loud. I don't know if I could ever go without. Watermelon sugar high, watermelon sugar high.
I thought I would pick that song. It's a longer intro than I thought. But it's Harry Styles' Watermelon Sugar. And I think I just like to start with music. And I tried to find a song that had something sweet, I think, in it. And so it was a little bit of a stretch, but go back and listen to that song when you get a chance. My girls dig Harry Styles, and I guess I do too. But I thought I would play that just a little bit and get us in the mood for learning about words. And I titled this lesson, Words Are Sweet. And I use that word sweet because that has a double meaning here. And since we're going to be talking all about words, I thought we would just go in with that. Like, words don't actually have actual flavor, but we talk about how words are colorful and that they have layers. You know, I tell my girls, dress in layers in the springtime, because sometimes when you wake up in the morning, it's cold, and by the afternoon, it's warm. And so you can take those layers off. And, you know, I don't think about words having layers like a coat and a sweater and a shirt, right? But they do. They have multiple layers. And sometimes as a writer and a reader and an author and all of it, we select words that, you know, require us to think about them. And as a reader, you are a thinker. And today I hope to stretch that part of your brain and make you guys really stop and think about multiple meaning words. So words have double meanings. You know, candy's sweet. Sundays are sweet. Cupcakes are sweet. You know, but do we think about words as sweet? Do we think about words having different layers of meaning? Do we think about words and how they add color and interest, just like the sprinkles on a sundae? I mean, a sundae is awesome, but when you start to add the sprinkles and that color, it's even better. Listen, words give the text, really does give the text some flavor. Hey guys, welcome to reading class today. And I'm just going to scoot, and I tend to have to do that a little bit. I'm going to scoot my head over and welcome you. If you are from Miss Hub's class, hello. If you are from Miss Mull's class, hi. And Miss Giss, Miss Dare, Miss Allison, Miss Jefferson, thank you for coming to Quote School today. And I'm really excited to be able to talk to you and teach you and remind you about words. And I'm just excited to hang out with you. We're going to learn how to figure out what the words mean in a sentence. And we really have to take our context clues and really take a look at it. And we really have to build our word knowledge to be able to sort of dissect the meanings of the words. And we really have to pause and think. And I said think earlier, and I just really cannot stress enough that readers are thinkers. You know, like, I had to maybe think through the idea of words being sweet and words being colorful. I mean, if I look at the screen right now, I mean, there's color on it, but for the most part, the words are black, right, on white background. So what that means is they're exciting, you know, not colorful in the sense where I see purple and blue and yellow and orange and green. It just means that there's a little spice and excitement to words that we choose. If we were in class, we would be reading the learning target out loud. And so let's go ahead and do that together. It's going to be highlighting the standard L4.4. And it basically is, I can determine and clarify and or clarify the meaning of unknown and multiple meaning words and phrases based on context clues. So, we've learned, and I even taught last week or the week before, I think it was last week, just about, using the context clues and trying to find out synonyms and antonyms and using, words around, and maybe the author gave you an example. And so it's kind of coming back around that idea of using those context clues. So I really want you to be able to apply the strategies. It's one thing to read a standard. It's really another entirely different thing to actually be able to apply those strategies that your teachers kind of try to drill into your head. So I can apply strategies to figure the meanings out, and some of those strategies, just to hit on again, word parts, word relationships, context clues, and reference materials. Listen, how cute is this background, right? Listen, let's look here at this multiple meaning word. The word is ring. Oh, Miss Mull. Yeah, I never thought about this. She is wearing a wedding ring. Did you hear the phone ring? When I ring the bell, you need to stop. The word ring is used differently here. One time it's used in reference to, some jewelry and an object. One time it's actually used as a sound word. And one time it's used as a verb when I, quote, ring the bell. So we have a multiple meaning word, and I really need to, as a reader, think through, how is this being used? Right? That's a strategy. The job of the word. Not every time I use the word ring am I referring to a wedding ring, right? A ring you wear on your finger is a piece of jewelry. It has a different meaning than the type of ring a phone makes. That type of ring is a sound. When a church bell rings, I don't think about my phone. I actually often think, well, maybe someone just got married. I put the word in a personal context, right? Well, what about a napkin ring? It's kind of like jewelry for the table. Even that brings about a completely different idea and meaning. I think of a table that's ready for dinner to be served. And as a reader, I need to visualize the context. I need to see it in my head. And as a reader, I can't get to the visual unless I'm thinking, right? I can't see unless I'm thinking. English language is so interesting. And for those of you that are learning it as your second language, I feel like I should put my head as an ice cream. But if I can't drag it, oh, good night. All right, let me just try to be a little more patient there. Let's just head into the ice. Let's just head over here. I was going to say, let me put myself in the ice cream. All right, this slide right here. Let's just kind of look at the visual. And then let's look at the underlined word. The word is scoop. I mean, what's the scoop with all these words? I even used the word scoop right there in a different way. When I say, what's the scoop with all these words, I'm really not referring to an ice cream scoop. I'm referring to something else. Let's take a look at these 4 sentences. And these 4 sentences use the word scoop in a different way. Let's think about the context. Let's think about how it is used. Is it action? Is it a thing? Can I make a visual connection, a personal connection? How about if I think it through, might there be a clue around the word scoop that can help me figure it out? Hey, what's the scoop on the new school building? Is it finished being built? I didn't read the latest newsletter to find out. There's nothing about ice cream in that sentence, is there? But I have the word scoop used. Scoop is a multiple meaning word, and I need to, as a reader, think about its job. Is there a word I can substitute in my head to try to figure out what scoop might mean? Is there a word in another sentence that might help me figure out what scoop means here? Let's read the next 3 sentences. Do you take 1 or 2 scoops of sugar in your coffee? I'll have 1 scoop of chocolate, 1 scoop of vanilla, and 1 scoop of strawberry ice cream. Now that sentence has a lot to do with the visual. You need to scoop out the last bit of caramel from the container before you open a new one. In this last sentence, is the word scoop used as an action word? Is it something that somebody's actually doing or, quote, needs to do? Right? So the job of scoop right here is what we call a verb. It's an action word. It's completely different than talking about a scoop of sugar. What do I use to typically, quote, scoop sugar out of a container? What do I usually use to eat ice cream or to take ice cream out of a container? Like what instrument, right? Like, let's visualize and think through. But guys, what's the scoop with all these words? Am I really saying what's the spoonful with all these words? I'm not. So I put the sentences on this, right here on this slide, and added some graphics and some information. I'm going to just have you take a look at the slide, and then I'm going to get into it. Running down on the right-hand side, I have the 411, the scoop. Back in the day, you literally could pick up your phone, not a cell phone, a phone that was literally connected to a wall, and dial with your finger 411. And somebody would pick up the other line, and you would ask the person a question. Can I have the number for so-and-so? Can I have the phone number for, Gino's Pizza? Or can I have the phone number for, Lucy? And the person on the other line would give you the information. And so it was literally like you called information. Give me the 411. And I just slid that down there on the side of the slide because I thought that it would kind of be a throwback to back in my day. But I also wanted to kind of give you some knowledge on maybe what the word scoop means in that first sentence. What's the scoop on the new school building? Is it finished being built? I didn't read the latest newsletter to find out. Right here I have the second sentence, or the third sentence rather, highlighted in pink. And then I have the word news in newsletter underlined. Sometimes the author gives us clues right around it, and we have to be paying attention. Are there clues nearby? Yes, there are. The scoop means news. What's the news on the new school building? What's the information on the new school building? The next 3 sentences I feel like are food references, right? But I can visualize, my mom putting sugar in her tea or me putting sugar in my coffee, and it's a spoonful, right? So do you take 1 or 2 spoons of sugar? And it really means like I'm just going to scoop this out of the sugar bowl and put it in my coffee cup. And I can think about and I can visualize, and I'm actually making a personal connection I can feel. And then traditionally, right, when I think of scoop, I'll have 2 scoops, right? That's a large or a medium ice cream. And we see that displayed when we go order ice cream. Like a small is 1 scoop, a 2 is a medium, medium ice cream, and 3 scoops is a large. So it means the size, right? And it's an actual ice cream scoop, like the physical instrument used to scoop ice cream. And the last sentence, you need to scoop out the latest or the last bit of caramel. Listen, sometimes scoop, and in this case, it's used as a verb. I'm literally scooping, like in scraping the caramel from the container. Ask yourself, how is the word used? I can't just always think ice cream, right? When I think of scoop, I had to think about how it can be used in multiple ways. Wow. It was interesting when I was making this slide as to how many, I'm going to put my head right here. Okay. So how many words have multiple meanings? And I'm just going to be quiet for a few minutes, and I want you to think about a couple of these words, and you can start really anywhere. But I want you to think about how you could use these words differently. They have multiple meanings. Let's start right there with the first one, practice. Practice can be an action word, and it can be actually something that I attend. Like, I have to practice piano every day, or I need to go to soccer practice, depending on where it is in the sentence and how it is used. Practice is a multiple meaning word. Let's pick one from the second column. I'm going to go ahead and park my car right here. During COVID-19, the park was closed. Park was a action word, right? I'm parking the car in that first sentence. In the second sentence, I'm talking about the park in the neighborhood, the place with the swing sets and the feet in the walkway and the soccer field. Sometimes we have multiple meaning words, and they're spelled the same, but they're pronounced a little bit different. And let's go to the third word in the third column. Give you a second to find it. Each one of these rows are called columns. So if I'm starting from the left and working my way to the right, I'm going to find the third word. Guys, this can actually be pronounced 2 different ways. Produce, right? Produce. And produce. Slightly different. Produce is a verb. Produce refers to vegetables and things that are grown on a field, in a farm. I went to the produce section of the supermarket. That means I went to the produce section. That's where the tomatoes are, and the corn is, and the peppers, and the potatoes, and the apples. I'm going to go into the recording studio and produce a new song. Produce means to create. Isn't that interesting that the word produce and produce, it's spelled the same, right? Nothing is different with the spelling. But depending on where it is in the sentence and how it's used in the sentence, it's completely different. As a reader, you need to be paying attention to the word placement, the word context, how it is used. If I was talking about a recording studio, I'm thinking music. But if I'm talking about a supermarket, I'm thinking about things I can buy. So those are clues in and out of itself. Let's go to the fourth column, right? The fourth column, the third word as well. Again, spelled the same, pronounced a little bit different. Object and object. Object and object. Object, I'm looking for the small object in the corner of the classroom. Looking for that small piece of something, right? An object. I can pick it up, I can touch it. But if I object in a courtroom, I'm saying no. I object. It's a verb. Multiple meaning words. Authors use them in their work. And if I don't have word knowledge, and if I'm not thinking and visualizing and paying attention to what the author is doing in that sentence or in that text, my comprehension, I have a problem. Next slide. I was actually showing this to my daughter the other day, and she was like, I'm learning something new. I didn't know what a heterograph is or a heteronym is, or I do know what a homonym is. So I'm just going to be quiet for a second. I want you to take a look at this slide here, and this might be new to you. A heterograph, the yellow. Words that sound the same but have different spellings and multiple meanings. Hey, can we meet for dinner? We can grill the meat tonight. Meat and meat. And as a reader and a writer, you need to know the difference. And spelling matters. And this time, word knowledge really plays into this, because meet means, hey, let's go someplace and get together. And on the second sentence, it's something I'm eating. A heteronym, it's a word or words that sound different, but they have the same spelling and multiple meanings. So I sort of used produce and produce earlier. The studio will produce the new record, and the truck from the farm brought in the fresh produce. So there's a slight difference in how you pronounce the word, but there's no difference in how you spell the word. But they mean different things. I found a quarter on the floor. Quarter of the class earned a 100%. Well, words that sound and are spelled the same but have a different meaning. A quarter is money, right here. Quarter of the class means a part of the class. 1/4. It does relate back to an actual quarter, so it's probably not the best example, but all right, let's go ahead and review, because we are going to get into practicing ourselves. I have an activity for you, but I just want to recap this really quickly. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. Listen, as a reader, you really have to pay attention to those words that have multiple meanings, and you need to pay attention to context, right? I need to visualize the word. Like, I can visualize grilling out on the back porch like some steak. And so, I ate the meat, right? And I eat the meat. And that's how I remembered it growing up. E-A-T, eat the meat. M-E-A-T. Visualize the word. Hey guys, match up what you know with what you read. Make the connections. Ask yourself, well, how is the word used? Does it show action? Is it an idea? A person, a place, or a thing? Let's look at the word race. I ran fast in the race. Race up to the top as quickly as possible. You know what? We are all different nationalities and races. I have a thing or, an activity. I have the idea of culture and how we're all from different places in that third sentence. And then in the middle sentence there, I'm actually racing, I'm running, I'm fast. I got an action. Hey guys, we need to notice the spelling and the pronunciation of a word. And the more you read, the better grasp of the English language you will have. Like, you really have to read in order to get better. You need to see words. You need to hear words to add to your word bank. Can you determine the meaning of the word from other words around it? Right? Can I pay attention to the fact that, a napkin ring is going to, hello, napkin, table, place setting, food, right? Or ringing the bell. It's totally two different ways to use the word ring. Are there pictures or captions to help define the word? And that's really something that's used in a lot of times in nonfiction for sure. Right? Can I make the connection if I'm not really paying attention while I'm reading? At least can I read those pictures and go, oh yeah, the ring. Oh yeah, that kind of ring. And we didn't hit too much on this today because there's so much to learn, but do you recognize part of the words that can help you? Like even in the title of this slide, review. Like it did it on purpose. Re, if you know what a prefix of re means, it actually means again. And view means to look at. So I have to look at this again, right? So I can break apart a word sometimes. Okay, I've got 4 lollipops, and I'll move my head so you can see. Listen, this is just another visual of sort of the strategies, and hopefully this will help you, right? But starting, and really I put the word context clues right there in pink, but really all of these are context clues. But you need to really think as you read, you need to visualize, and you need to make those connections, Think with that little thought bubble, visualize with the eyeglass, and make the connection with the heart. When I hear a church bell, it makes me happy. Like I immediately go back to like maybe a memory of when I was little and I heard the church bell, right? Or my own wedding, or like a wedding that I've heard as I was even not even part of it, but driving by the church. Make those connections. Location, location, location. The word relationship, right? How is it used? I figured out what the scoop was. It was the 411. It was the news. It was information. I'm looking for clues around the word. And then it's like, how is it used, right? Is it a verb? Is it a noun? Is it an action? Is it something? I have to really know spelling and pronunciation. I can pull out word parts. It really falls underneath that word knowledge. And then, you know what? Just the author sometimes gives us that visual. Even a cover of a book, of a fiction book. I really love a good cover of a book because it draws me in. That picture draws me in. And when I'm reading nonfiction, those captions and those pictures really help me understand how the word is used. Listen, words are colorful. They really are. They're not really, quote, literally, but figuratively. Let's review the learning target. I can and I will, right? Determine and or clarify the meaning of unknown, multiple meaning words and phrases based on context clues. And not only can I determine, I'm really going to start to apply those strategies to figure out the meanings. Be an observer, right? And beyond being an observer, be a thinker and pull apart those words and think about the clues that the author is giving you. Guys, your tasks for today. You're going to have to come back to the slide. And really, it's going to be the 7th slide, and we'll talk about that in a second. But review this slide a second time. It's always a great idea to come back and just review. I'm going to attach a worksheet for practice, it's going to be an online worksheet for practice, and you'll see that, and I'll attach that to the assignment. It will be dated 5/5, which is today's date, and with the concept of, words in context or multiple meaning words. And you'll see it'll be attached. I haven't pictured it here, but I'll attach it. It'll be assignment number 1. And then you are going to have to go back to slide 7. And I'm just going to go back to slide 7 so you can see it. You're going to pick 3 of these words. 3 different words than I used, okay? So we don't want to use practice. We don't want to use park, produce or produce, or object or object. But you can pick any other 3. 3 from this word bank here. And you're going to use them in 2 different ways, like I did for you. So you're going to actually create 2 sentences for each word that you pick. And you have to pick 3. So you'll be writing a total of 6 sentences, but only using 3 words. Okay? So you definitely need to refer back to that. Listen, guys, it's always a pleasure. I love you. I mean it. I miss you. I'm going to go ahead and stop this, but feel free to reach out to me. Reach out to any one of your teachers. And we love you. And we miss you. Okay? Ask away with any questions that you have. All right. Bye. Hey, and you're sweet too, not just words.